Good morning, boys and girls. Today we will be learning about units of time, and this is lesson 12.8. So let's take a look at the essential question, and it says, how can you use models to compare units of time? You may be familiar with this word. It's kind of a fancy word. It's the word analog, and this is an analog clock. Okay, it's different than the digital clock, which just reads the numbers, right? It's like a digital, maybe lit up, I don't know. I'm going to make it 9:30. It's not 9:30, but that's a digital version of a clock, right? So maybe you have a watch that has that, or an alarm clock or whatever. But this is called an analog clock. That's a really great thing to know. And the analog clock below has an hour hand. This is the hour hand. Remember, the hour hand is shorter. It has a minute hand. Here's our minute hand. And this one even has a second hand. You might have a watch that has a second hand timer like that. This one is red in our model here. And it says that this time, shown on this analog clock, is 4:30 and 12 seconds. Okay, so we could read that as 4:30:12, but that's not very common to hear it that way. So we read 4:30:12 as 4:30 and 12 seconds, or 30 minutes and 12 seconds after 4. That might be more common, I would think, right? I don't think I've ever heard anybody read 4:30:12. Okay, so forget that one. Boink. Okay, here we go. Are there more minutes or seconds in an hour? Well, we know most definitely there are more seconds in an hour. Seconds are a smaller unit of time, right? They're the smallest unit of time. And then we have minutes, and then we have hours. Let's check it out. Let's look at what's going on here. So we know that there are 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. The clocks below show the length of a second, a minute, and an hour. So a second is going to be that little red hand, and it's going to move over just one little notch, right? Sometimes we watch it go around if we're timing something like a science experiment or our friend running or something like that, right? So that would be a 1 second elapse. And if I could share with you that special word, elapse means time gone by. It means gone by. So 1 second has elapsed when the second hand moves over one little tick. And then we know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. And so 60 seconds elapses in 1 minute. So that means our minute hand, once our second hand goes all the way around, our minute hand can just move over just one little notch, right? And then we know that 1 hour is 60 minutes, and after an hour, 60 minutes have elapsed, and the minute hand has gone a full turn around the clock in a clockwise fashion. Let's take a look down here and see if we can complete this. It says, how does the size of an hour compare to the size of a second? Hours compared to seconds. So, well, there are 60 minutes in an hour, and there are 60 seconds in a minute. So we would need to do 60 minutes times 60 to find the total amount of seconds. So I'm going to bring it over to what I wrote out here, because I always like to model these with this fraction idea. So if 1 minute is 60 seconds, if we change that to be 60 minutes, we would do a times 60. We could do a times 60 down here, 60 times 60. Okay, let's use some multiplication skills. What's 6 times 6 is 36. And then we can't forget to add these 2 zeros onto the end. And that would be how many seconds we will have gone. So it's 3,600 seconds. We'll go back over here and write it in here, 3,600 seconds. So 60 minutes times 60 seconds in a minute is 3,600 seconds. So there are 3,600 seconds in an hour. Wow, that's a lot. So 1 hour is 3,600 times as long as a second. Yikes. Okay, I'm going to turn this over and we are going to look at a couple of strategies that might be helpful when you're doing a comparison of some measurements here. So let's look at this. It says, Larissa spent 2 hours on her science project. Cliff spent 200 minutes on his science project. Who spent more time? Well, this table can help us here. So if we make a table with hours and minutes and fill it in, I know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 2 hours is 120 minutes. And 3 hours would be 180 minutes. Okay, well, let's move this over and let's make a comparison here. So we just said we're going to compare 2 hours and 200 minutes, right? This is how much time Larissa spent, and this is how much time Cliff spent on their science project. Well, who spent more time? So is 2 hours less than, greater than, or equal to 200 minutes? Well, let's figure out how many minutes is 2 hours. And again, I can go back to my chart. 2 hours is 120 minutes. And Cliff spent 200 minutes. So clearly 200 is more than 120. And Cliff clearly spent more time on his science project than Larissa did. Good for you, Cliff. I bet it even came out better. Okay, so let's go back to this. 2 hours is less than 200 minutes. So Cliff spent more time than, look at this lovely word, than. It's not then, it's than Larissa on the science project. Good for you, Cliff. Way to go, Cliff. Probably came out better. The longer you spend on something like a science project, I bet the better it comes out. Okay, compare the length of a week to the length of a day. All right, this is going to be fun. Okay, so it says the number line below shows the relationship between days and weeks. Well, we're fourth graders, so we know that in 1 week, we have how many days? Can you answer that question? In 1 week, there are how many days? Well, it tells us over here. In 1 week, there are 7 days, right? 1 week, there are 7 days. So if we're going to compare weeks and days, clearly 1 day is going to be smaller than 1 week. Okay, so I'm just going to go down here and fill this in. This is pretty, I'm going to say the word easy. I know we don't like to say that in math, but I think this is kind of easy for you to know that there are 7 days in 1 week. So 1 week is 7 times as long as 1 day. And there we go. I'm going to let you complete your Google form. You guys keep working hard and know that we think that you rock. Yay. Bye.